Pete Buttigieg decides to go on Chamath and I think it's called the All In Podcast, right?
Of course it is,
and,
yes. Oh, look at that.
And
is this Halloween? What is he doing?
Yeah, so he goes on the podcast.
He's a straight man.
He goes on the podcast.
He's pretending to be a real man. Look at he's a real boy.
Adam, stop.
Sorry, bud.
No more, okay? He decides to go on the podcast, and Pete Buttigieg brings up the concern with immigrants, and here's what he had to say, and here's what Chamath had to say. Go ahead, Rob.
The worse it feels to be in this country, the better off Donald Trump is, whether he's running for president or whether he is president. And sending troops marching into the streets.
Can I just say, as the only immigrant right now on this podcast who immigrated here legally, I feel much safer and better under a Donald Trump presidency than I ever did under a Biden presidency. Just want you to hear it from my mouth for what that's worth.
Do you feel safer about the fact that a Latino doctor crossing the street in Washington, D.C. is getting hassled or harassed because they're brown?
I don't think that I've heard that. Now,
okay, so you're not aware of any case in which a U.S. citizen who is...
no.
Like you're
no, but I will tell you, for example, after 9/11...
Wait, you're on a podcast commenting about immigration. Surely you have some level of awareness.
Let me tell you, after 9/11, for example, for years I had SSS on my boarding passes.
Ugh.
I was pulled over constantly, and people probably thought that I was a Muslim hijacker. Mm-hmm. So I know what it feels like to be harassed. And what I'm telling you categorically is I feel safer in this presidency than I have ever felt. And I'm just letting you know that. It's just my lived experience.
By the way, what a fair, sound, reasonable way of giving his argument on both sides, and Pete not knowing what to do with it. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, Pete, let's find a victim. Buttigieg, there we go again. Yep. Let's find a victim and exploit it. Find a crazy example, or not a crazy example. What if that really happened? And what if that happened under ICE? You compared about what's going on with the rest of it. But what Pete was there was he was stammering. He was waiting for them to kind of come a little bit to the liberal side, and they wouldn't do it. And he was just kind of stuck and stammering, which shows you people aren't buying what you're selling. And you don't have the facts to back it up because the back of the package says, like cigarettes. You know what? That's what it is. No one's buying what the Democrats are selling. And when you pick it up and look at the package on the back, you get like a warning label like they put on cigarettes.
And Tom, you think about it, doesn't this kind of coincide, Pat, with the previous story? They're pissed off, their base, their Democratic leadership is because Trump, besides getting out illegals that are causing the crimes and they have records, they're getting rid of their votes. Bro, 500,000 people gone, 1 million people gone. Those people are all voting for the Democratic Party, and they're going bye-bye. They're going bye-bye. And that rhetoric. You mean to tell me one story of one guy that's brown? And by the way, you know what SSS stands for? Secondary Security Screening Selection, meaning every boarding pass says make sure you take that brown guy and search him again because of 9/11. Like, give me a break. Pete Buttigieg, by the way, Pat, there was multiple instances on this podcast where Chamath, with his really comfortable sweater, is just taking him apart. Like fear porn by fear porn by fear porn. It was actually a really, really good podcast.
Well, they should call it the Mic Drop Podcast.
It should have been.
It's cool to see Chamath basically being a defender of Trump. We all know a lot of the people in the Silicon Valley in 2016 and 2020 were not fans of Trump, but they're not defending him, but now they're sort of his staunch allies, sort of the MAGA 2.0, which we talked about this. And then Pete Buttigieg sort of gives this anecdotal, you didn't hear about this one guy this one time. It's like, okay, cool. Okay. I will say this, to maybe defend Buttigieg for a second. Chamath and the All In guys, they're based in where? Silicon Valley?
They're in San Fran.
Okay, so I don't know what effect they're having from the Donald Trump effect. If there's someone you need to look at, it would be Gavin Newsom, your governor, that's based in Sacramento out there. So if any issues you're dealing with in San Francisco or Northern California, that's all downstream of what Gavin Newsom is doing. If you're feeling the national effect of if you're going to D.C., if you're going to certain towns where Trump is sending the National Guard, I get it. You probably feel safer there. But any issues you have are not necessarily a Trump or Biden thing. It's a Gavin Newsom thing. Yep. I'd love to hear his comments on what Gavin Newsom has done in the state of California.
Well, to talk about Gavin Newsom, Newsom has moved on from Joe Rogan, Rob. I don't know if you heard or not.
Oh, really?
So all this time he was talking about, Joe was afraid of me. Tough guy, all this stuff. He has officially decided to move on from Joe Rogan. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh.
He hasn't, for years and years, he's been attacking me, and it's one way, and he won't have me on. He's consistently not having me on. By the way, I'm moving on. I have no interest. You're done with him? Joe Rogan's the Facebook of podcasting. He was sitting across one of the brightest minds in podcasting right now. The guy was in the mic, And there are a lot of people at the mic doing extraordinary things.
Who's he talking about?
He's talking about Andrew Schultz.
Got a pretty big audience still.
He's talking about Andrew Schultz.
What do you mean he's talking about Schultz?
He even says that he's talking about Andrew Schultz. He was sitting across from him.
Enough confidence, I didn't go there,
He was to say the B word.
to have me on.
Well, you've called him a chicken.
But he's been attacking for. But here's the thing:
God.
these guys, they all have something in common. It's one way. They attack, they belittle, they demean, they take things out of context. But this is a serious thing.
But enough about you.
And so often we just sit back and go, oh, God, I really would love to go on. Oh, if Kamala Harris just went on Joe Rogan, she would have won. It's not. It's so much deeper than that. And the unwillingness for a guy like that to even have the common courtesy to attack someone and not have the decency to say, you know what, why don't you have a chance to come on? Let's have a civil dialogue. I've watched you on podcasts with like Sean Ryan, who's a close buddy of his. He had the courage on me have 4 hours.
Right.
Sean Hannity, folks like that. And so if I can go on Sean Ryan and Sean Hannity, what are you worried about? What are you, Joe, you're going to cook me or I'm going to cook myself.
This is what's called spiteful ex-girlfriend energy. You ever break up with a girl and she just completely just like, oh my God, I hate him so much. He's the worst. I would never get back with him. And then you call her and she's like, hey, what's up, honey? You're telling me if Joe Rogan doesn't call Gavin Newsom or Jamie, his producer, and goes, hey, we'd like to have you on, you think Gavin Newsom is going to say no?
Let me go to Tom. Go ahead, Tom. What do you think about this?
What I think about this is Gavin Newsom is trying to use reverse psychology on Rogan. He was trying to say, oh, well, he's been spiting me. And he's, you called him a chicken. That's what Alex said to him. And he's trying to use the reverse psychology. Gavin Newsom is desperate to get on the Joe Rogan podcast and on other podcasts because they want to roll those clips together when it's time for all the campaign ads so they can look like man of the people connected to everybody. That's the play here. There is a playbook that goes with the 2028 campaign that has launched a year and a half ago with Gavin Newsom when he got together and made sure that he could bait and drag Ron DeSantis into a second-tier channel, ran their mini debate. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And so what's he doing there? This is a guy, Gavin Newsom, who has a playbook for media. He knows exactly what he wants to do, and he's trying to belittle, bait, and tug on Joe Rogan's team to get himself on there. But you know what? They're not having it. They're not interested.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, when he's doing this, I think a part of this is the following. He wants to say when he runs for president, I asked to go there. Exactly. I'm not like Kamala. I'm not afraid. I'm not this. Yep. I even told him, and he said he's not going to have me on. I'm not afraid of doing this or any of this other stuff. Now, on the other side, he's a leading candidate for the Democratic Party for president in 2028. The previous one, Kamala, here's what she just did. She sat down with yesterday. By the way, I really don't like doing Kamala clips. Not Jon Stewart. Go to the other one first, Rob. Is the one with the world-class spin or misdirection or whatever.
I love this one.
I really don't like putting clips of her, not because I feel bad for the audience.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Because it truly is so hard to. I can listen to Newsom.
Yes.
So I'm not insulting. I can listen to Newsom. I can listen to Obama. It is so difficult to listen to her. Because she just folks,
if you're eating,
practice your mental toughness and emotional toughness for the next minute and a half. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh God,
Rob, can you pause it? Does it get into it fairly quickly? Because I don't want to play the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Where she stops him, boom, 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 and then she.
You're
right. So go all the way to the beginning. It's just the first minute because it's a 2-minute 47. I don't want to go through the whole thing.
Brace for
Watch
impact.
this, folks.
Wasn't Joe Biden then to put it on him? Wasn't his refusal to recognize his own frailties the reason that you faced a nearly impossible task?
I ran against Donald Trump for president, and Donald Trump ran on a platform that was, in large part, I believe, misrepresenting his intentions to the American people.
Hasn't answered the question yet.
I do believe that there are a fair number of people that voted for Donald Trump who believed him when he told them that his first priority on day one is going to be to bring down prices. And he didn't. And you combine that misrepresentation of intention with
question hasn't been answered yet.
What was at play in terms of
she's eventually going to lose it, the lady.
Now, forgive me.
And a truncated calendar in terms of the clock.
I want to interrupt you because that is a world-class pivot, but it is not the question that I asked you,
She's challenged.
which is about Joe Biden's failure to recognize his own frailties and what that did to you. The question is about Joe Biden. Are you still reluctant to criticize the former president?
In what regard, please?
Well, just in terms of that question. So you
What
went on.
exactly would you like to ask?
She just asked-
If you don't mind.
Was it Joe Biden's decision, his failure to recognize his own frailties in that position, that put you in the position that made it almost impossible to win that race?
He was not frail as president of the United States.
But he had frailties. We all saw the debate.
I do believe that Joe Biden had the capacity to be president of the United
Okay,
States.
pause right here.
And I've never.
All right, so she said this to her. The lady holds her accountable. She goes on Jon Stewart. This is what Jon Stewart's like, what are you doing? And Jon Stewart is probably voted for her and try to help her out. Watch this here.
I believe he was fully competent to serve.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
That surprises me, actually.
No, I do. There's a distinction to be made between running for president and being president.
What's the distinction?
Well, being a candidate for president of the United States is about being in a marathon at a sprinter's pace, having tomatoes thrown at you every step you take.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's more than a notion.
Get involved in public service, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
But
And
still,
to be
hold her
the
back to the
seated
question.
president, the sitting president,
Pause it.
while doing that.
And then you want to ask, why she didn't do all those podcasts. Do you know why they shielded her?
She can't do it.
She cannot
Yeah.
do it, and we bet like
She's horrible.
She's horrible, and that's why they kept Biden in the basement as well. But they're either incompetent or they're incapable. You know what I mean? Biden, and I just love.
And 2 weeks ago, she was upset with Biden.
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievable, but none of them. Karine Jean-Pierre, by the way, they just released the Intel Committee, Pat. They released a bunch of depositions where even Karine Jean-Pierre, all of them are lying. They're all sitting there going, "Nah, I didn't see it." Pat, do you mind if I go really quick back to
Go ahead.
to Gavin Newsom? And I know we make fun of him, but I go after him a lot. We just made a
We
sketch
don't make
about
fun of him. We point out discrepancies in facts and reality.
I make fun of him, especially with his hands, because he lies. But I love that you said that too, Tom. You guys have to
No,
understand.
you make fun of that, but that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, he's the front runner, guys. He's the front runner for 2028. Let's not lie about it. And you guys see what's happening with New York. The left is just voting. They'll vote for anybody that's not going to be the Republican. But I'm telling you guys, the moment they come in, they're going to destroy the country. And I'm not fearing people. I'm just letting you know. Ask Gavin Newsom, and nobody's asked him, Pat, at the moment you get in, what are you going to do with the border? They're going to open up the border because that's the same guy. And a couple days ago, he did something. I'm pretty sure you saw this, Pat, that infuriated me. And it disgusted me to a whole different level. He betrayed Charlie Kirk. And I don't know if, Adam, did you see this? Remember, you remember when he had him on his podcast,
Yeah, of
Pat, and
course.
Charlie actually went to this guy's podcast, sat down with
I
technically
think it might have even been Gavin Newsom's first
podcast.
It might have been.
That was his like kickoff podcast, and Charlie agreed. Sat with quote unquote the enemy. He doesn't agree with any of his values. A guy who clearly Gavin does not have God in his life. Obviously Charlie did. God rest his soul, and he still showed up. And this is the admission of how amazed Gavin's son was, and he was such a fan. Play this because I want to show what he just said a couple days ago. Go ahead, Rob.
Last night, trying to put my son to bed. He's like, "No, Dad, what time? What time's Charlie gonna be here? What time?" And I'm like, "Dude, you're in school tomorrow." He's 13. He's like, No. This morning, wakes up at 6 something. He's like, "I'm coming." I'm like, he literally would not leave the house.
Did you let him take off school?
No, he did. Of course not. He's not here for a good reason. But the point is
You canceled school for like 2 years. One day.
That's such a
point
good
is
line.
the point, which is you are making a damn dent.
Thank you. I'm kidding.
I'm making a okay. Now you guys hear that. Now cut to Monday. Gavin's on CNN, and listen to what he says about his son and Charlie Kirk. Look at this. Look at this turnaround.
So that's your son, obviously a fan of Charlie Kirk. What was the conversation like between you and your son after Charlie Kirk was
Well,
assassinated?
he called me. I don't know how he got a phone, but he called me from school that day, really alarmed. And all his friends were around the phone that wanted me to somehow express or understand what was going on. He wanted to know if he was dead. He wasn't a fan of him as much as he was familiar with him.
Is it how unbelievable? Your son, Gavin, wakes up and is ready to go at 6 a.m., begging to go meet the guy and hang out with him. And then now you play this is why he's a lying freaking sociopath. Pat. It drives me crazy how deceitful he is, and he's going to be the front runner. So I every chance I get to point out his lying, and his character, I'm gonna do it. Horrible. Tom, do you agree with that? Like, he was just familiar with him?
I agree with one thing, two things. I think the American voters can be swayed, and I think if you look at AOC and you look at Gavin Newsom, they're very savvy and they're capable of swaying a lot of voters.
Yes.
I believe that. I also believe, number two, that the mashup of the flip-flops are going to be magnificent campaign ads, and they're going to have to find a way to explain them. And if they're fair debates and they ask real questions, like the journalist, and I call her a journalist from the UK, was interviewing and asking a question, doing journalistic research, asking a direct question, and saying, that's a world-class pivot. I asked you this question, and then getting Kamala to kind of get a little sparky there because she didn't want to answer it. That is what people need to see. So I hope that the flip-flops and the mashups that we're going to see in the election, I hope it's real. But these people are slick, and you're looking at a guy who's a very slick campaigner. Yep. At the midst of it all, somebody needs to sit down with them and just call it back and forth, call balls and strikes, and see what this guy says in a fair-minded situation. But he'll be all spun up, ready to turn this into fights.
Yep. Well, they're night and day, Kamala and Gavin. Kamala Harris reminds me of the scene from Billy Madison. I don't know if you have that, Rob, where they're doing the debate, and the moderator, after Billy Madison gives his answer, is like, Mr. Madison, what you said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in the room is now dumber for having listened to it. That's when you listen to Kamala. You're just like, did I get dumber? What just happened here? What was the whole time and space? And
oh, God.
You're sitting there and she's rambling. Even PBD has to tell you to wear earmuffs before you get on. Gavin is the exact opposite.
He's
as
very good.
Skilled as a politician as it gets. And it's slimy, and you feel like you need to take a shower, yet people are going to vote for it, and it's authentic, yet it's fake, and he's going to put on his little... he is so skilled.
Yep.
To anyone thinks that Gavin Newsom is not going to be a realistic opportunity to be the president of the United States,
God.
you get another thing coming.
No,
he's completely
he's
capable, and he's completely fake.
Sure.
And by the way, I got to correct myself. Sarah Ferguson from ABC's international channel 730, she's Australian, not British.
Tom?
Very fact check.
It's going to be okay, man.
Tom, don't ever make a mistake like that again.
Well, I don't know. With what's going on with the royalty, maybe Sarah Ferguson...
You want me to cancel him?
Doesn't want to be associated with the UK.
I'll make the call.
Sorry, Sarah, you're from Australia.
I'll
always
make
have
the call.
that.
You know what is scary to most people? Planning. Most people are afraid of planning. Most people are afraid of sitting there and saying, oh my God, you want me to plan for next year? But you know who's not scared of planning? I want to introduce you to this guy who was looking for a business plan to fall out of the sky for him. And it didn't happen. But he made a decision to put on his calendar on December 12th to spend an entire day with somebody. Go ahead and play this clip. Wow. Watch this fellow here. Good-looking guy, minding his own business.
Yeah. The best-looking guy.
Hey, Vinny.
What's up, Pat?
What are you doing?
Waiting.
Waiting for what?
Business plan.
To come from Scott.
That's what people told me. It worked
That's not how it works.
Worked for Newton.
That's not how it works. On December 12th, I host an event called the Business Planning Workshop, where we go through this entire manual together on how to write a business plan based on 12 building blocks.
Okay.
All you have to do is click on a link below.
Okay.
Get registered. December 12th, we'll be together all day.
All right, so can we go eat right now? Because I've
Yeah,
been here
let's
for 4
go.
hours waiting like an idiot.
Idiot.
I mean, he even made me look up the second time to see if it was going to fall or not. But it's not falling. For some of you guys, I got big plans for 2026. December 12th, come join us. Rob, can we please put the link below everywhere so people can see it? For those of you guys that are listening to it in audio, it's bpw.bedavidconsulting.com. Join us December 12th together to write up your business plan for 2026. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.